We are back. Y'all thought it was over because the season was over, but it is not because we have to talk about season 3 of House of the Dragon. Our predictions. What do we think is going to happen? Where is things going to go in this Westeros landscape? The illustrious panel is all here. Let's go first with a girl that has no name. What do you think are your initial thoughts? Just your initial thoughts and predictions for next season.
Well, I think the war is coming. I think that with Daemon back home,
Finally,
I think that with Daemon back home, we'll be able to see, a version of that power couple that we wanted to see all season. As a person who didn't read the books, right? Obviously, you guys have an ideal of what should happen compared to what I want to happen. So that's
what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen?
I mean, somewhere between like beautiful romance and death and destruction. Just loosely.
So life in general, real world stuff.
Yeah, life in general. But I'm being intentionally vague just because what happened this season was all completely unexpected for the most part. Kind of the twists and the turns that this season took. Like no one could foresee Daemon just spending the entire season in Harrenhal with the witch. That was just weird. And I'm wondering, and here's the thing, we have our feelings about it, but when you look at the internet in totality, everyone was sick of him being there. So I just kind of wonder if the writers if the writers are, looking at a script and having something that they want to happen, but if they're taking like viewer opinions and maybe making amendments to them or adjustments to them, because it was the general consensus of many, many things that just, went on too long. So I guess I'm asking, I wonder how much power we actually have. And
well, they got cut 2 episodes. They literally shot a lot of stuff for the 2 more episodes and they cut it. Yeah. So like that end of season 8 was technically supposed to go into episode 9.
So they cut it because of content? They cut it because of time? Because of money? Money. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is odd because is this not profitable, series in HBO history or, a spinoff of the most? So I'm saying, what money issues could stop them from doing what they need to be done for this?
I'll put it like this. Kobe had to come back on his contract too. He had to cut loose, and Kobe was the best thing for the Lakers. They cut into his contract too, right?
So when the coins hit.
Yeah. And Kobe was everything for the Lakers, but you got
Kobe was everything for everybody, but yeah.
All right, the mother of Thanos Targaryen. What are your predictions for next season?
Next season is going to be brutal. Next season is going to be brutal. Hold on to your socks. I think it's going to start off with a bang and go full throttle, full speed ahead through all the most unpleasant things that we know is to come. And Jennifer, the answer to your question, why would they cut, one of the most profitable spinoffs in HBO history? Capitalism. Hello, right? Got paid the cost to be the boss, and even the boss has a boss. And so we're not going to get what we want. We're not going to get on the timeline that which we know of the canon. But it's definitely going to be just balls out. It's going to start off with a bang, and I don't think it's going to let off the gas. Precisely because this season 2 spent a lot of time delving into backstory and motivation and spending what we thought to be, or what some of us considered to be, way too much time where they were. The side quest to Harrenhal drug on for far longer than we thought it should have, far longer than it did in the books. And also, too, for those folks who are, super nerds, George R.R. Martin released his not a podcast, but his posts. And
yeah, he wanted 4-year-olds to be killed on screen.
Yeah, and so you got to take it with a grain of salt. 6 eggs in one hand, half a dozen in the other. It's his material, so we get why he takes issue with some of the liberties that the showrunners took this season or in last season, and what he thinks to be is going to be coming in season 3. But I mean, there wouldn't be any of this without him. So we can let him crab in the corner, but I'm still going to read what he writes. I'm still going to read what he posts. I'm still going to try to dig into his mind to kind of pluck forth what I think is to come. Because like we discussed in all of last season, season 2, the showrunners are taking certain liberties, right? Departing from source material. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it makes it interesting. It keeps us engaged. It keeps us on the edge of our seats.
Piggybacking off of that, I wonder if season 3 will be better because they already know they only getting 8 episodes, and like before, you pre-read in your head and storyboard it out, and actually shot some stuff for a 10 episode. So now you're going like they only give us 8 now, so now we can come in with a different mind state of how we want to lay this out instead of being told in the middle of shit production, hey, you know what, you need to cut that by 2 episodes, but you have it planned out for 10. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you on that. Mm-hmm. All right, Thanos Targaryen, what are your predictions for next season?
I honestly just echo what A Girl Has No Name and Mother said. Kind of just, it has to start with the bang and it can't let off the gas because...
Stop real quick. We have to do a LeBron James, Bronny James situation here with like the mother. He says you can't call him dad on the court. We got to do that here.
Okay, I'll call her Bethany. That's fine.
Hold on. Yeah, or what you've been calling me your whole life, Mom. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. Just like LeBron said that Bronny can't call him that at work. He can't call him dad at work.
I'm going to change my name. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Targaryen.
But I just agree with what y'all said. It has to be super eventful because the last episode of this season was basically a trailer. So I agree with that. And then just the only other thing I've really been thinking about is how I'm surprised Jace made it through season 2. I'm glad to see a lot of him and I would love to see more of him, but I'm scared that they're going to use him to start off with a bang. But I don't know. I don't really know what's going to happen.
That would make that'd be interesting if they did that with Jake.
But I know that his last scenes are at some battle, and I'm pretty sure I'm going out of order chronologically. I don't know when or where the battle is, so I don't even know if that would make sense at the beginning of the season. But either way,
Harrenhal, I believe. I think it's the Battle of Harrenhal
or a Gullet. I think right.
Oh, it's the Battle of the Gullet.
Yeah, and which was mentioned in episode 7. So. Yeah, and they like I said, they've taken liberties with the timeline, which they're drawing it out for to keep us hanging on to tune in to season 3. But for those of us who know, we're waiting anxiously with bated breath.
All right, Scott, what you got, man? What are your predictions for this next season?
It's gonna start off with ultra violence, like ultra violence. I think they took season 2 to kind of slow play it, and then they're gonna draw more viewers in for season 3 by a lot of violence real early in the season. So maybe episodes 1 and 2 gonna be super violent. I don't want to go too in detail of what I think is gonna happen, but I do think that 1 and 2 are gonna be very violent. Maybe 3, 4, and 5 are going to be more slow, more response to that, and then they're going to finish up the season with a lot of violence to draw you into season 4. Because I think we got notice that there's going to be a 5 season series, right?
Yeah.
4? Was it 4 or 5?
4. Let me see.
4.
It was 5.
This is my question though, because you said draw more viewers in, and so. Are those new viewers? Is anyone actually picking up House of the Dragon 3 seasons in? I
I
just
think
feel
so.
like
So it's gonna be 4 seasons, y'all. Just FYI.
It'll be four. Okay, so it'll be
I
4
didn't
seasons.
start Game of
Then
Thrones.
I double down. I double down on my earlier statement. Then it's gonna be much more violence at the beginning of season
no,
3.
I agree, but my question is, do you think the writers are really their intention is to really draw more viewers in?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, as opposed to pleasing the viewership and their base that they
No,
already have.
because you got. I think you might be overlooking just how many viewers were drawn in late season into even Game of Thrones, and I was one of them. Okay.
And you were one of them.
Uh huh.
And I can't read her name, but you were
No
one of them.
worries.
You didn't.
A girl has no name, so it makes it easy.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
a girl has no name. So no name. You were one of them. You didn't start watching Game of Thrones until like the last season.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I read the books early on, but because I had other stuff going on, I couldn't commit to watching Game of Thrones when in its inception because I had other stuff to do, and I couldn't commit to sitting down every Sunday watching it. And also too, because I'm such a purist to books, I always err on the side of they're going to mess the movie or the show up and they're not going to stay true to the book. So part of it was me just being stubborn. The other part of it was me just not having the time. I didn't enter the Game of Thrones TV show universe until I want to say season six.
Oh wow.
I binge watched it over Christmas break. Yeah, over a Christmas break. So the goal is always to draw
another
viewers.
caveat. And so outside of the lore, another actual practical caveat is that HBO has seen what very high and very popular high IPs how they've produced results. So Star Wars isn't doing very well. The Acolyte got canceled. Rings of Power lost 50% of their viewership over the first
And they're the most
2 or 3
expensive
episodes.
TV show of all time
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, so there's a lot. There's actually a practical matter from the business in order to try to draw people in by more violence. Because quite honestly, if you look at the ratings for original Game of Thrones, non-book readers really didn't commit until all the hype around the Red Wedding was in season 1.
100%. Red Wedding was all the regular kids. They weren't on board before that, but with Ned getting killed, no, it was the Red Wedding.
Yeah, and HBO haven't been sold like 6 or 7 times. It's very practical in that knowledge. So when they have already a popular show
with the Purple Wedding right after that, then they follow it up with Oberyn fighting the Mountain. Like it was just like,
and it moved very fast. Like if you watch season 1. How it read out in the books moved very fast, very quickly, how it played out through the seasons. And so I believe they're going to do the same thing. And particularly if all the ground they have to cover has to be covered in 2 seasons, they're going to move very fast to try to create some buzz about it.
Okay. Agreed. So the goal is always to increase viewership.
Yeah.
Bottom line. So let me ask you all this question. With it so far, do you think they'll change a lot from the books, like where we'll see some characters survive that we didn't know survive before, or do you think everyone will get their ending but maybe different?
Well, okay, so from my perspective, given the statements that were made in Game of Thrones, there's a chronological there are some results that they're going to expect to get from the end of Game of Thrones that they have to hopefully that they're going to stick to. I don't think that from a lore perspective, from the show's lore perspective, they're going to deviate from that. I do think they're probably going to rush through some things and yada 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 over some things, which is why I was so against what they did with Daemon and Harrenhal because that dragged on. And so I think that seasons 3 and season 4 won't drag on as much as season 2 did because they have an actual finite end date. And they want to draw in more viewers and draw in more watchers personally.
And there's so much more material with Daemon, right? We know that other characters in the series and in the TV show, the books, there's so much more material to develop with him that I was at once upset about his prolonged visit, because I know that, we know that those interrelationships still have to be established. But then I said, will they be established? Will they be established? And can I say it, or should I not spoil it? Or
I think you just say it. Say it.
So we know that when the battle above the God's Eye between Daemon and Aemond, we know that Aemond brings his lover, who is Alice, the witch at Harrenhal, Alice Rivers. By that time, he and Aemond and Alice have an established relationship. That's his consort, and he brings her with him. So we've only seen Alice at Harrenhal with Daemon, right?
Yeah.
Spent all that time giving him the laced up soup and teas and making him hallucinate and touching the werewood trees and having these visions. Wait.
Aemon, wait a minute. Aemon, the Maester at Castle Black?
Ma'am, Aemond Targaryen. One eye Aemond. Rider of Vagar.
I don't think Daemon or Aemon survived season 3.
Okay.
They may, because that's the penultimate.
No, they're gonna survive. They'll survive.
Or that'll be the
think so?
last episode of.
They're the money makers. They're the money makers.
Right.
If,
So
if, okay, I can agree with that if they had 5 seasons, but how would they cover that much content after that battle?
I think they're gonna make that final battle of on some like, hey, I know everything is crumbling and it's all bad, but meet me in Temecula, and we just gonna go.
Season 4 will be $1 billion if they do that.
It'll be right. It'll be right.
I'm saying to be a meet me at Temecula. Like, you know what? Neither one of us is really getting this the way we want to, but I don't like you. You don't like me. Let's just go ahead and just squab it out and get it done with. And
so you think they're going to draw that? You think season 3 is going to draw that battle out? It's going to draw that battle out for the entire season, and then they're going to wrap everything. Okay. Now I got a question for you. Where do you think the series ends? Because they only have 8 episodes a season, and we only got 16 episodes from now to draw this entire thing to a conclusion. They're going to do it in the 16 episodes, while Daemon and Aemon battle doesn't end until the end of season 3. Like that. Yeah. That's a vulgar amount of content to go through.
I think because, like you said, that's the money makers.
Chronologically, how much? I guess, like from the book, what's the time span? Because I always struggled with
3 years. It's 3 years.
The Dance of the Dragons lasts for 3 years.
But we're only like a year in, though.
Yeah, we're only like a year in, but we spent way too much time in certain places. So I think, to answer Scott's question, I think that season 3 ends with the battle above the God's Eye, and this is what we're here for, right? Our prognostication. Season 3 ends with the battle above the God's Eye, with Aemond and Daemon's fight to the death, and then episode midway through season 4 ends with Rhaenyra's death, right, by Sunfire, and allegedly by the books. And then the last couple of episodes follow very rapidly, the marriage of Rhaenyra's daughter or son to Aegon and Helena's daughter. I think that it just follows it to the end of the timeline. That's what I think.
What about the whole purpose of season 2, which was to establish low folks as suitable dragon riders, that they are worthy to ride the dragons?
I think season 3 told us that they were worthy.
I mean, wasn't that like a huge part of it? I mean,
it was.
Right, but I see season 3 gonna show us that the low folk didn't need to be involved. Like everybody ain't supposed to be at the Capitol.
Oh,
I agree. Because they're going to come into play.
Low key, they MAGA.
Their
Low key,
story
I
takes
thought
back
about it
seat.
after we finished taping. I was like, oh, and I know y'all claim y'all LoFo, but y'all really not LoFo. But they like MAGA. Like, oh snap, we storming the Capitol. Oh snap, let's do it. But everybody don't need to be in politics. Like everybody doesn't know how to do that and run that. And everybody don't need no dragon.
So it is a storyline, Jen, or sorry, Girl Has No Name. But I think that what we have is a secondary storyline. So that takes back seat to the front runners, right? Which are the royals, right? Battle of the Dragons, House Targaryen, blood against blood, family against family. So it's not insignificant. It has a place to it has a part in the story, but that can't take precedence over, the battle for the actual throne itself. But it'll be important. Just wait, it'll be important.
We do get the Legend of Duncan Egg coming up beginning of next year, so we do have something to kind of hold us off in between meantime period. Even though that'll probably be kind of more like movie, not big. What was it, like Kindergarten Cop or something? That's how I kind of feel like it's gonna be, like a kindergarten cop in like medieval times. That's what it kind of feels like it's gonna be. I mean, maybe it's not, but it just feels like that. Like older dude with this young dude, and we just gonna roll around and have adventures. So let's go with you, Thanos Targaryen. What do you think? What in this conversation that we're having here with this? What do you want to see? Like A Girl Has No Name. What you want to see, not what you think you will see. What do you want to see?
Okay, so I've just been thinking about it in terms of seasons. Y'all are saying 5 seasons total, right?
4.
4 seasons total, 8 episodes each. Oh, so we're halfway through. Okay, I'm thinking it's 5 seasons this whole time. Now everything's making way more sense. Then in 2 more seasons, I think it all ends with the Stark army. Like whatever happens, however they wrap it up, I think it'll be heavily involved with Winterfell and that whole thing. So I think I guess I would like to see the Battle Above the God's Eye, R.I.P. Jace at the Gullet, and then of course Rhaenyra's farewell, and then like I want to see the Starks come in. So yeah, I just think that lineup of events would go really nicely in the last 2 seasons. But I didn't read the book, so this
Right?
is
No.
I agree with you because I mean ultimately I'm waiting for them to bridge the 2 shows together. I want it to end.
Oh no, that's not. It's happened way too far in advance. Like for it,
I know, but I mean, I just want to see some remnants of it. Like I just want to see like.
Well, I think
that's why it starts. Like it's going to all go back to Winterfell. That's what I think is going to like bring that nostalgia.
Yep.
And that.
Yep. You're gonna see the Starks and everything
So
at the end.
I start rewatching Game from the very beginning. And rewatching Game, there are so many references, obviously, to everything, right?
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm saying is, I just want to see the combination of it all. Like, I just want to see kind of like, because the names are really similar. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like.
But you won't get a culmination of it all because this happens before games.
I know what happened before. Man, like, I want to see what happened that got us to episode 1 of Game of Thrones. Like that's kind of what I want to see. I just want to see like it kind of.
You can read about it. You can read about it. You won't. Yeah. You probably won't see it. You can read about it. So,
girl that has no name, you want like a,
could be like a light suggestion.
It's not going to be neatly tied up in a bow for you.
So you want like Ned Stark at the end, standing at Winterfell, being like. Right. That was the history of my people.
Baby Ned Stark or something in the cradle.
So Daryl, I got a question for the group if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what do we think? What do we think that Cregan's role is going to play in season 3 specifically?
I think he's going to be the level-headed person. Like, hey man, I don't think we need to be doing that. And be like,
he hasn't met anybody but the boy, the son.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but he's gonna be involved. You know, they'll be talking on the battlefield, be like, "Hey, check it out. I don't think we should do that. Am I not your queen? All right, man, my bad. Hey, you got it. Like you got it. I think it's gonna be a thing. Like you got it. You are the queen. I'm just saying that we should have sent them this way instead of this way. Or we shouldn't maybe attack King's Landing right now. Maybe that's not the best idea. But you know what? You are the queen. I'm just gonna fall back. And I think we're going to see more of a consorted thing, especially if they do the Jace thing like that. You're like, man, I was only here because of Jace. That was my homeboy. So you know what? We finna pack it up, and we'll holler at y'all on the other side. If anything comes up that way up north, we'll help you. But we ain't doing nothing down here.
Okay. Sure.
What do you think? The queen who never was.
Cregan Stark has a big role to play. We know this, right? And I was I said at the end of the season, how are you going to give us Cregan Stark at the opening of season 1 or season 2, and then we don't see him again until they're rolling out going to war with the Greybeards, right? And also too, I'm not sure if they actually showed it it might have been a part that was actually cut.
We cut it out.
Cregan Stark was leading the Greybeards out of Winterfell. And so we know he has a huge part to play. And because he has a huge part to play, I'm not sure. I know we'll see him in season 3. I don't think we'll see him until halfway through season 3. We know that
as a Greybeard myself, we're going to put some respect on those Greybeards' name.
Listen, I'm here for the Greybeards. Like, we ain't got no smoke with them. And he said, but they fight like, Northerners. They're Northerners. One Northerner is worth 1,000 regular folk. That's what he said. But Cregan Stark, we know, is the arbiter of the long arm of the law in the events of the Dance of the Dragon. So he's going to have a huge part to play. But because of the pacing so far, I don't think we'll see much of him. We might see his soldiers. We might see his battle force. But I don't think we'll see much of him until halfway through season 3.
I wonder if that because is he traveling with those guys
right now? He's traveling because they cut him out. They cut the scene out with him leading, like I said, leading those forces out of Winterfell. So all you saw were the Greybeards marching. When all of the armies were mobilizing at the end of episode 8 of season 2, you saw the Lannister army, you saw the Hightower army, you saw the Greybeards marching off. Daemon walking out like he finally got a little bit of cutty from his wife that he made up with after being gone for so long. Looking out over the army that he's amassed while he was at Harrenhal. But they cut Cregan Stark out. Why'd they cut him out? It was just a scene. It was just one quick scene, but they cut it. So, like I said, my ask is always why. I always want to know the why.
I think they don't want us getting caught up in the Starks as much because that's everybody's go-to.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm down with the Starks. I want the Starks. Like we here, but like, hey, this is not about the Starks.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of the setup why we fuck with them so much.
Yeah, it is.
That's true. It's very true.
They kind of got to do it though.
Yeah, because really, this is they coming out party on a major level. Like this is really like people didn't mess with the North, but now they like don't fuck with the North now. Like this is like a real thing that's gonna be implemented after this. Like we don't go up there messing with them folk,
right?
But if we can get them down with us too, it's even better. That's the whole thing.
You feel way more comfortable. You got Starks on your side than
That's true. Defenders of the North, they're the keepers of deserters from the Wall, right? Episode 1 of season 1 of Game of Thrones was Ned Stark executing the deserter who spouted all that crazy stuff about White Walkers and zombies, and he's like, yeah, well, it doesn't matter. My job is to kill you here. And you wonder, like how did you you hear something that crazy, but you just go ahead and behead that man anyway. And so all of the buildup in the House of the Dragon is supposed to get us to the point where we understand why Ned acted in the way he did. First episode, season 1 of Game of Thrones.
And they do a really good job. The writers did a really good job of showing why people revere the North so much. Like because they introduced it in games, but the kind of the framework by why people revere the North so much is set, and it's very subtle, but it's still really effective in my opinion. Again, I could be a little bit biased because I know how it's supposed to end, but they do a great job of setting up that the reverence that people have about Northern fighters in that world because of how they're setting it up. Because it's like, oh, listen, we're not even giving you our best, and then even though you're not getting our best, our youngest, our most vibrant, we're still sending you has to go put in that work. So.
And they have nothing to live for anymore. They're old. They've seen too many winters. What was the conversation that they had? They've seen too many winters. They've got no families. Like, I'm sending you the fighting dogs right now.
Yeah.
And whatever I send you, it should be enough. And if it's not enough, then that's on you.
And look, and I need some of the young boys just in case this don't go right to make sure that we good up north. That's partly what he was thinking. Like, I'm gonna send you like 10, 20,000. If something go bad, you still ain't gonna come up north, and we still got the young bulls up on the north on that. So
right, watching out for the Night's Watch deserters. Right, they're still on duty up there.
Because the Snows the Starks in general are like part of what the First Man, the set of the First Man, and they're connected to everything within the whole set of Game of Thrones, but they just don't want power. That's the main thing. That's their charm about them, is that they just leave us alone. Just let us do us. We'll send a delegate here and there. We'll do what we got to do to be around, but we just don't want to mess with y'all. We Alaska. Just let us do what we want to do. We want to give out stipends for $500 a month. Let us do that. Like, we ain't messing with nobody. If it's 24 hours and no sun, that's cool. We do that. Y'all don't worry about that. We do it
until the friendship of Ned Stark and Robert Baratheon and the machinations of Littlefinger draws Ned out of the north.
Yeah, we'll have to do that in a future episode of how Robert is the biggest hater in all of Game of Thrones.
Not Robert, Littlefinger.
Yeah. No, Robert's the biggest hater.
Oh, absolutely.
Robert's the hater, man. This is classic. Like, hey, and even your homeboys is another dude got a woman and you liked a lot, and he with her, and you like, you know what? Nah, I went out with her like 2 times. That's my girl. Dude, you went out with her 2 times.
I thought Robert was betrothed to Lyanna.
He was, but you didn't like him.
He was. She didn't like him. Oh man, Jen. I'm sorry. A Girl Has No Name. Where are you in the series?
I mean, I've watched it. This is my 3rd time watching it, so I know everything that happened. But I'm saying, I thought that Lyanna, Sansa's aunt, was originally betrothed to be with Robert, and then she died. Oh, no, then he stole her or something and raped her and or something.
No, that's not the thing.
That was the lie. That was the lie that started Robert's rebellion. No, it never happened. It never happened. That was the lie that started Robert's rebellion. She didn't love him. He loved her for sure. He was in lust with her. He was in infatuation with her, but she loved another, which is
Aegon.
No,
it was
Jon Snow.
It's
Rhaegar Targaryen.
Rhaegar.
Okay. She liked the nigga with more paper.
Yeah.
Hey, that's it.
She traded him in for the richer nigga. You know what I mean? That's right.
Hey, because you know what? Because the Baratheons don't have. We found out in this series they ain't got no money. They don't even know how to read for real and stuff. So that's why Stannis is so revered. It makes sense why Stannis is so revered, because he's actually one that went to school. He actually came back to the hood and tried to bring people up from the other Baratheons. And that's why they really mess with Stannis Baratheon, because he's the only one that's educated.
Unless they don't like the real one.
Listen, different toilet, same shit. It's always the same thing. You know what I mean? You get traded in by the richer nigga.
Yep. And he fly too. He got the nice joint. Got
he got dragons. He got diamonds and pearls. He in the club all diamond embezzled up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always the same story.
And he got you a dope little crib, a nice little high-rise joint. When y'all was hiding, y'all was living it up. He had you nice at the Tower of Joy chilling.
And he was a Targaryen. He was a Targaryen.
The new cat come up talking about 50% on the bills. You gotta pay your own way.
I wanted 50% on that, and she had to move the storms in.
Right. Right. She had to work. She had to move into that 2-bedroom apartment. And she was, come on.
Look,
Right.
and look,
She was
and low
cool.
key, and she was cool. Liana was cool being a side chick. On the low, she was like, "It's better. This situation better than me being a side chick than being in
And
that
if you
2-bedroom
remember,
apartment."
Rhaegar was a Targaryen. And if you recall back in Game of Thrones, I do not remember the season or the episode, but Olenna Tyrell was talking to either Marjorie or Sansa. And she said, yeah, I was engaged to a Targaryen once. They were all the rage. Every woman wanted to be associated with the Targaryen, but
It was Marjorie.
was it Oh, yeah. Every woman wanted to be married.
That's when she admitted to killing Joffrey.
Mm-hmm. So every woman wanted to be associated with the Targaryen because they were all the rage. They were that hot shit. They were the Rothschilds, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she banged her sister's betrothed. You know what I'm saying? And then went on ahead and got married to old boy because Olenna, who might be the smartest player ever in the Game of Thrones, Olenna Tyrell, she was like, he wasn't going to be for me. The guy, I didn't know what I was going to get with that Targaryen. So I ended up marrying old boy and, he was all right, but he was better than if I had married that Targaryen prince. Right. So, man, better deal. Better deal.
Yeah, but it also makes me realize, because really Stannis is supposed to be the head of the Baratheons. He skipped above him from this war. He basically got to skip ahead in the game from this whole war happening.
Yeah. Stannis would have been, had it not been for the influence of the Red Witch, might have been better positioned.
By far, he was the best.
She led him astray
of anybody.
Yeah, he would have been the best player to assume the throne, but because he was influenced negatively by the Lord of Light's acolytes and the Red Witch, he couldn't quite hold it together enough. And hey, killing your own kid, burning her at the stake, is generally frowned upon in this establishment. I'm just saying, not a good look.
Hey, the night is dark and full of terrors. So,
the night is dark and full of terrors.
Decisions got to be made.
All right, we're going to wrap up our preview episode. We'll be back with some other random topics over the weeks up until the next show. We appreciate y'all listening. Peace.